Speaking of women who want to be leaders, Kamala Harris, of course, we saw the presidential debate yesterday between former President Donald Trump and current Vice President, would-be President Kamala Harris. And look, a lot of people walked away from that saying it was a good day for Harris because she managed to get through the thing without too many word salads. And there's some new polling out today that shows it did exactly nothing. Who would have thought? This is a poll from Ledger in the United States, and they did find that half of the respondents to this poll who had watched at least some portion of the debate on the ABC said that Harris was the winner, so they rated her better than Trump. 29% said that Trump had won, 13% said that neither candidate had won. But when you drill into the numbers of where the presidential things are sitting at now, it's still only 50% saying that, and I say only 50%, but it's 50% saying that they would vote for Kamala versus 47% for Trump, which is about what it was prior to the debate. So this has not turned the dial whatsoever. As I said last night on Credlin, that's why immediately after the debate, Kamala's campaign and set out, well, you know, let's have a second debate, because they knew that she did all right. If they thought she had done really badly, they wouldn't ask for another debate. If they thought she'd done really well, they wouldn't have to ask for another debate. They realised very quickly that that wasn't going to change anyone's mind. Trump did what Trump does. Everyone expected Trump to perform much like he performed yesterday. Kamala did a little better than expected, but certainly not enough to change anyone's mind. They need another debate to try and move hearts and minds, because, of course, you're not dealing here with people who are going to vote Democrat or are going to vote Republican. You're trying to get undecided, or perhaps even people who are not going to vote, to come out to the polls. And nothing that she did yesterday changed that view whatsoever.
No, in CNN's own polling, the question they asked in this particular one was, after the debate, who would you most trust with the economy? Now, prior to the debate, Trump was already leading in that poll. After the debate, he was leading by a much bigger margin. So people can see through the fact that this woman is capable of 90-second, well-rehearsed speeches that somebody else wrote. Keeping in mind, that's the rules of the debate. You don't get to speak for much longer than that. So all we really saw was like, oh, she can actually do well in the space of 90 seconds, well-rehearsed and written by somebody else. But that also tells people watching that's what you're going to get if she becomes POTUS. Just a well-rehearsed actress blurbing out the lines that somebody else has written. And after the years of a Biden administration in which that poor old bloke was doing the same and everyone was wondering who's really in charge, you got to know you're just going to get more of the same if Kamala gets the hot seat. As I said last night, I don't think that the debate was going to change anything. That's before we saw it reflected in the polls. Kamala is still the establishment picked, backed by the neocons. Trump is still the outsider, backed by everyone who's willing to stand up to the empire. And that's what we saw reflected in this poll.
I think Kamala Harris won the debate only to the extent that Donald Trump didn't put her away. That's the extent to which she won. And even if you give her the debate and say, OK, Kamala Harris won the debate, in terms of the polls, the southern border is still leaking, inflation is still high, homes are still too costly, crime is still skyrocketing, but she won the debate. So, you know, take your win and run with it, I suppose, but it's not changing anyone's mind. The other thing I thought that was interesting from the New York Post report was that the debate with Joe Biden, 51 million viewers watched that, but 67 million watched this debate with Harris. And 42% of people who watched the Biden debate reckoned it was a good argument, a good debate. But 60% of those who watched this one said it was a good debate. So I think for the Democrats, they would have to be happy at least with Kamala Harris compared to what they had in Joe Biden.
Sure.
And it seems like America is happier with it as well, because they're saying, well, at least it was a decent debate. More than half the people thought it was a decent
they were happier than they were with Biden the minute they got rid of the bloke. I don't think there was much doubt about that.
But remember, before they replaced Biden, there was talk about, I mean, are they going to go from Biden to Harris? They can't be serious.
Yeah, but of course...
There were doubts about how she would go.
Sure, but she is still benefiting from that anyone but Biden phenomenon, right? I mean, they could have picked a wet lettuce leaf and he probably would have done better than Joe Biden. And the interesting thing about the polling numbers here is that literally everyone basically has tried to run interference for Kamala after that debate. Like, the media has just almost whole as bowl said, she won it, she won it, she won it. It's being rammed down people's throats. And even big tech is interfering in this to help out Kamala, and it's still not helping her thoroughly in the polls. This video was put together by the Rubin Report. Dave Rubin, of course, you've often seen on this network, particularly with Paul Murray. They put together a group of the lies that she told and then fact-checked them. This video went up on TikTok, and then TikTok took it down.
He will sign a national abortion ban.
It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban.
Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor.
What she says is an absolute lie.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born.
Nowhere in America is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for an abortion.
The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mothers.
Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking.
It was a different term, and it was a term that related to energy. We're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars if I get elected. Now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath.
I mean, what's wrong with that? It seems a pretty fair report of what Kamala said and her simply being fact-checked for what she said. And I know I said before this was big tech running interference. It's probably, let's be honest, China running interference for Kamala Harris here, because we know that TikTok is owned by ByteDance in China, and big business in China is intrinsically linked to the CCP. So why would TikTok decide that that video, which was entirely truthful, ought to be taken off their platform unless China had an agenda to help out Kamala Harris, because they know she'll be a much softer touch than Donald Trump, who's promised to bring in tariffs on China and other nations in terms of their exports to the United States? They're doing everything they can to help her because they know she'll be better for them.